Good morning and happy Sunday. This is the second part of our talk on the seat of lights. Yesterday I was at length talking about how the Zen school is different from our Avatamsaka school, and we're talking about in Zen school you meditate on a topic, and I talk about the relationship between the subjective experience and awareness and the object, which is a mental object, which is a concept, and how that concept evolved. I was talking about how that concept slowly merge and become one with the awareness. I said that that's the moment when we enlighten, when the duality between object and subject, that duality disappear. The awareness is now aware of itself, and that is the moment that we call satori, enlightened, because we wake up to realize that we can aware of ourselves. We can be aware of ourselves instead of aware of an object. So we develop a whole different skill of awareness. So we talk about that, and we talk about different kind of object, mental object, and then the question is, if you look at the pictures that I'm drawing right here, that you can move from duality. You have a very abstract object, and you cultivate to have deeper concentration on the object. But as your object evolves, as one time, the object and subject will be merged into one. Or actually, the other way to say that you can become aware of yourself. You become aware of your Buddha nature, which is a mental object that have no dimension, have no shape, no form, no time, no space. And when you become enlightened because of that, and then you become non-dualistic. Subject is object, and object is the Buddha nature, is the awareness itself. Now, and we're talking about, there is a way that the Avatamsaka school or the Shingon school, they all practice, and that how we don't start with different kind of object. We start right away with the seat of light. And what is the seat of light? The seat of light, by definition, is the enlightenment. And the enlightenment, let me get this picture again. Where is this picture? Here. So yesterday we talked about this seed of light. It could be anything, but it can grow and become a tree. And we cultivate the seed of light. But we didn't talk about that very much deep enough. So today I dedicate my time and explain that. So here is the seed of light. This seed of light here is representing Kuan Yin Bodhisattva. So what is it that Kuan Yin Bodhisattva doing with this seed? So Kuan Yin Bodhisattva, she's enlightened, and her state of enlightenment, her state of, we call the state of limitless light, a state of immense compassion. She packed this state into the shape of the syllable sa that you saw. So she packed that whole state of limitless light. So let me draw this light here, limitless light. Okay, so this is the state of limitless light. Okay, very good. So this is a state of limited light. You can see that right here. And therefore, this sa is now packed into, the limitless light now packed into this little tiny seed. So you pack them, or you zip them, zip all these lights into a one tiny seed. And so now our job is to visualize, to do something to make the seed grow back into the tree. The seed become the tree. And the tree is, of course, the tree of lights. And that is another word to say it's the limitless lights. So here, let me type the name of it, tree of lights, or the fruit of light, and that is what we call the limitless light. It's the same appellation, different kind of name, but all the same idea here. Okay. And the practice now, it means that we need to focus. Okay, we need to focus on here, on the seat of light, and we focus, and then finally we get this whole thing back, and copy here, you put back here, and maybe you make it a little small like this here. Okay. And make it small. Okay, so here we go. And you can understand that this is what we call the practice that based on the Bodhisattva or the Buddha's enlightenment. So we're not going to go and seek enlightenment. No, we unfold the enlightened state of the Buddha within us. This is the difference. You walk, you're going to find enlightenment somewhere, right? That's different practice. But now it's not like that. We had this enlightenment state from Kuan Yin, and we just have to unfold it, just open it up. So that path is clearly a different path. Okay, now you take this is Sa, but what happens if we have this one? This is Samantabhadra, and it's not limitless light, but it's again, it's a light, but the light is so different from the lights that we just talked about. So this light here is the light of practice. Okay, so we have this light. We'll draw this light here, like this here, and it's a limitless light as well. And maybe it has multicolor because there's many practice. Is representing the light of many practice, many kind of practice here. Okay, so we say the limitless lights of myriad of practices. Okay, so that's how it is. Okay. Now, what does it mean? Does it mean that when Samantabhadra, he practiced so many practices, so he accumulate, or maybe he get to the point where he's enlightened and he can take all the practices, and all the practice are lights, and he have this immense limitless practice. Samantabhadra doesn't practice one life. He practices maybe millions upon millions of lives. Okay, so all the practice combine together, integrate together to become just limitless, myriads of lights. So that now, out of that, you pack them into a tiny seed. Okay, a tiny seed. So let's try to write that seed in a very tiny. Okay, let's take this one here, copy it, make it real tiny. And all right, there we go. Now we get a very tiny seed, a very tiny seed here, and you put it right here. So now, me, huh? Okay. So now we have ourselves right here. We look at this, and as we unfold the lights. We unfold the lights. And because we unfold the lights, suddenly we don't know about any practice, but we start to do that practice very naturally. Because we unfold the lights. So there's a people who saying that, oh, Shifu, I do this practice, but I feel it's very familiar. Did I do it in the past life? I don't know. But if you cultivate the I'm all the time, then every practice you do, you feel very familiar. And not only that, when you go out in the world, anything you do in the world, you feel very familiar, like you have done it already. It turned out that you have turned on the lights within you, the Samantabhadra light. It makes you very familiar, very comfortable with every single practice that grow goodness. And you feel it's like second nature. You don't need to think twice anymore. So from here, you grow, okay, into the limitless lives of myriad practice again. So let's take this one here, copy it, and you move over here. Okay. It's the same size, same thing. Okay, let's move it back. Oops. For some reason, I need to get this guy back, but it doesn't move. Okay, well, I can move it back here. All right, move the screen back here. Okay, so you come back to limitless light. So the process here is you zip, you packed, you zip it, and over here you unzip. If over here you packed, then over here you unpacked. But the whole process is that you cannot just take any seat of any writing or anything. You got to take the seat of light from Samantabhadra, Kuan Yin, and we have many of the seats that from Bodhisattva or from the Buddhas. We have to take them. You cannot just design something beautiful and you say, okay, let's practice it, and expect something happen. Nothing gonna happen. Only when we practice the seats of Samantabhadra, Kuan Yin, Manjusri, whoever, you know. For example, let's take another example. Here, this is the seat from Vajrayana Buddha. Let me write out this one here. Vajrayana Buddha. Okay. Now, if you practice this, then you will embody the consciousness of the Buddha. And this consciousness have two things. One is also compassion, and two, the sunyata or emptiness, true emptiness. Okay. So this embodiment of these two states, being empty and be full of compassion, is actually the practice make you become the Buddha. So you can actually just visualize this seat syllable here, the seat of lights here, and you practice it, and you grow with it. So we have a variety of the seats. They're altogether 42 seats, and you can choose any seats that you want to practice. The mantra is not that powerful when you compare the mantra and the seats, because the seat is the consciousness, the concentrated consciousness. It brings everything in. The mantra usually is the way you unpack it. So when the Buddha, for example, Vajrayana Buddha, when he packed his consciousness, compassion and emptiness, he packed into one. But in order to unpack it, we need to focus on it. But there is the secret of how you unpack it. The number one, let me write out all the process here for you. Unpacking process. Unpack. First, you need to get your body very still. Stillness, which is basically physical stillness. Then you need to have the subtle breathing. It's very important, subtle breathing, because breath is life. And You cannot have the whole thing unfold when you still breathe like any other time, like your consciousness, like the normal consciousness. So you have to change the breathing pattern, that you breathe very deeply, very subtle, in order to prepare yourself for the unfoldment. So you cannot just normally breathe and then you expect that you can visualize it. No, the secret is you gotta do subtle breathing. Breathe very quietly, very gently. But you have to have the physical stillness. You have to sit very still. And the third one, and this is what we call mantra flow. Mantra flow, and this is the key for unpacking. Without the correct mantra, you cannot unpack it. You have to have the right mantra, the correct mantra. For example, if you look at this one here, where is it now? Where is the, I lost it. Oh, here, I think it's right here. Right here, let's bring it down here. Okay, good. The Vajrayana Buddha, this one here, the mantra is Om Vajra Dhatu and Vam. So that's a simple mantra, short one, but it's the most powerful. It's a way to unpack. When you pack in, you don't know. Kuan Yin Bodhisattva went pack in, we don't know. But when you unpack, you need to recite that mantra, Om Vajra Dhatu Vam. If you want to unpack the limitless lies and you want to become the Vajrayana Buddha, you need to recite this mantra. But to do that, first you need to be physically still, or physical stillness. You have to know how to do subtle breathing. You need to recite the mantra flow. You recite it until your tongue doesn't move. It's only the mantra flowing through you, but you have no effort. So effortless. You have to do it effortless. Effortless. You can't make any effort when the mantra recitation going on. So if you're still thinking about it, now many people told me, masters, can I just don't recite the mantra? Because I'm American, I have different culture, I don't believe in mantra. I can't deal with it. I just don't know how to answer that question. If you believe in the teaching and you try it out, then maybe you should try out the mantra. Try it out. It's like different language, right? Language of the Buddha. But you refuse to do the mantra and you think, oh, I'm doing breathing and maybe visualize a little bit, it's better for me. Try it out to see how it affects you and how you grow in your consciousness, and let me know how it goes. I'm just giving you the instruction how the ancients have done for thousands of years, how they practice it. So usually the mantra would come at the time when the student is ready. When you're not ready, don't do it. Don't recite. But if you feel you're ready, then you get on to practice it. And the last one is visualization. Visualization is to become one with the one you visualize. So it becomes single-mindedness. So you have to really get on to practice it, single-mindedness, and become truly one with the syllable. So this is just 4 steps, 4 things, very easy. It's not very difficult if you put some time into doing the practice. Most of the time we get stuck with the physical stillness. Let me put the stillness here. Okay, put it here, and we put the word physical, so we cannot be confused. Physical. Okay. Most of the time we're stuck with the physical stillness, and we don't really care about the subtle breathing that much. We just breathe like normal. And that's very difficult for you to move forward when your breath is not subtle. You got to work on your breathing so your mind can be really focused. Okay. And finally, the mantra flow and the visualization. So this kind of thing is very simple practice, but it is a whole different kind of practice than visualize or practice on the Zen meditation, where you have a concept, the word wu, wu means vo, emptiness. You practice on the breathing, which is a different object. So the two different kind of practice. You know, you cannot compare apple and orange. It's a very different kind of practice. And sometimes we have the prejudice to say, oh yeah, I'm not going to do this because it's so prejudiced and so biased, and this practice here is superstitious. Basically, that's the thing that I heard a lot. You recite the mantra, you visualize those stuff, that's very superstitious. Actually, the certain truth in this superstition is this. If you go to Asia, you go to anywhere, you start to see that the people recite the mantra and they do all kind of black magic. They exorcise the ghosts and spirit, that kind of stuff that we don't do. And there's so much things that we call, they are pretty much pre-rational, meaning before rationality. They're pretty much the stuff that really have been in culture for thousands of years before people develop different kind of understanding. So this kind of superstitious practice, there are superstitious practices, they're there. But we're not doing that. We open up our higher level of consciousness that we call superconscious, we call trans-rational, logical. We practice to open up something that is much different. And that's where the syllables are. The syllables, the seat of light is up there. It's not down below here. So two different kind of practice. So, and the confusion nowadays is that you look at this Harry Potter, the story, and you see that they already practice magic. And suddenly your children, your grandchildren, your niece and nephew who grown up in this culture, in this day and age culture, they start to believe in mantras, in this mantra. But this mantra, what do? Or they make you fly on the broomstick, or they make things happen and doing something all about power. But that is very pre-rational. That's about the ego. It's not about transcending the ego and open up the kindness and compassion above. And so we had this confusion nowadays in this modern day, in modern time, in movies. And not only Harry Potter, and you start to see so many movies and such, talking about the witch, talking about all kind of very much egocentric, and always give the reciter, the practitioner, power to revenge, power to overcome and conquer. We didn't do that, and that is the confusion that we need to clear up. And our practice is to really open up our much higher self, our transcendental self, and our true nature, our Buddha nature. So that's the difference, and I hope that we clear up the practice and the concept of how and what we do. And especially, mantra is not something new that none of us can invent. Mantras basically has been handed down, transmitted from masters of the past, and all these masters learned from the Buddhas, Bodhisattva, and they keep handed down. So our lineage, we have these mantras, and we have the practice that we know it can be verifiable, and especially it can be practiced and lead us to enlightenment. So with that, I hope that you understand a large picture, understand the meaning of the seed of life. Why do we need to cultivate the seed of life? Because the seed grown to the tree. We cultivate one seed of life, but that seed of life will become the limitless lights. And there is many seed of lights because we have so many Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. And all these seed of lives, they are not just practiced by us, they practiced by many, many, many people, many generations, thousands and thousands and thousands, perhaps millions. And not something new, not something that I invented today. However, enjoy Super Bowl today, and if you're in America, you probably will spend some time with Super Bowl, and I wish your team win, whichever team win. And have a good day again.